You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network.
Fabulous.
Live every Sunday with the very latest food, beverage, and travel trends.
Amazing.
Now here's the host of our show, Mr. Randall White.
And a very, very good morning, everyone. Great to have you with us here for the Eat, Drink, Explore radio show. I am your host, Randall White, joined by the lovely, talented, effervescent Nicole Powers, filling in for Patty Piper this morning.
Good morning, Randall.
Hello, Nicole. Very nice to have you here.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you for filling in for Patty.
Of course.
Who's making buds with Mickey this morning down at Disneyland.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
You know, I used to really sort of poo-poo Disneyland when I was a kid. I loved it, of course. And then as I became an adult, I was like, why would I go to Disneyland?
Yeah, well, I think you start to see the realities of the consumer trap, and it can be a little depressing.
Right. And the lines and all those sorts of things. But then 2 Halloweens ago, I was invited down there by Disneyland to do a special for the local CBS affiliate here to talk about how, the park transforms for Halloween. I fell in love with Disneyland.
Yeah, especially when it's all decorated for the holidays.
Yes.
You're right.
And then I saw over at California Adventure, I saw their, what's it called?
Oh, the World of Color.
World of Color.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that as well.
And I thought, you know what? Disney brought its magic back.
Yeah.
That is so beautiful. So I hope Patty's having a great time. And we're certainly happy that all of you are joining us this morning, listening, waking up at 8:07 right now, whether you're on KSCO AM 1080 or Crush 92.5 here in beautiful California, or if you're watching us online at eatdrinkexplore.com. This is a good Sunday Funday morning. You've arrived at California's #1 place to talk about current trends in food, beverages, travel, and tourism. And as always, it's our goal to give you the tools you need to enjoy life's pleasures, but in a healthy, sustainable, and community-focused manner, if at all possible. Okay, now, straight ahead on this program, Nicole, we have a great one today. The very first guest for our health and fitness segment is a registered dietitian who works closely with the California Walnut Commission. Big news regarding the Mediterranean diet over the last week.
That's been all over health news.
Everywhere. And the study's facts are pretty ironclad that if you partake in a Mediterranean-style diet, which is really, of all the diets out there, it's like the easiest to conform with, right?
I Googled it last night, and I was like, wow, this sounds easy.
I know. Lots of seafood, lots of olive oil, lots of...
And you were saying bread is okay, which we love.
Bread is okay. If there's any diet that I hate, it's that low-carb, no bread diet. And then the low-fat diet, which this one was compared to in the study, although the participants didn't really follow along very well, it's just difficult. It's difficult. And if you find a lot of really low-fat foods, they're often... processed to make them
added
low
sugars
fat.
and stuff like that.
Exactly. Whereas this Mediterranean diet, it's just sort of really going back to our roots, how we used to eat back in the day.
And I think it's kind of easy to eat out at restaurants too.
It is very easy to eat out at restaurants, and I'm a huge fan of legumes or beans. I love nuts and seeds. Hummus is like right there. I eat hummus every day, and it's such a big part of the Mediterranean diet. So anyway, we'll talk with the California Walnut Commission about this study because they certainly loved it, and they supplied the walnuts for the study, which did create a little bit of controversy, and we'll ask about that as well. But then at the bottom of the hour, we're going to talk about loving the city where you live and how that can really play a role in how successful your city is.
Interesting.
Really, really popular speaker. You see him on the TED circuit all the time.
Okay.
TED Talks, if you've ever watched those. And so we'll have him at the bottom of the hour. Then we've got Gabe Saglie from Travelzoo right at the top. Next hour, we're talking about aging wine under the sea.
That sounds very cool.
Right, taking bottles of California wine and then putting them underwater for a period of time to see how well they age. It is a constant temperature down there, and there's a little bit of a rocking motion, so they don't have to. What's that called? Riddling, where they turn them in the racks. They don't have to do that because it's nature sort of doing it. So anyway, we'll talk to the winemaker about that undertaking, and then we round out the hour speaking with an Artisanal. I hope I'm saying that right. I looked it up on, there's a pronunciation thing online. An artisanal whiskey maker out of Monterey County who makes some pretty fantastic whiskey that'll be featured at the Whiskeys of the World event coming up. But right now, it is time to get a check of the news. And for that, we turn to Nicole Powers, who's filling in for Patty Pyburn. What's topping the news today?
Good morning, Eat, Drink, Explore. I'm Nicole Powers, and here's a look at the stories we're following this Sunday morning. Avoiding diabetes may be as easy as cutting your sugar intake. A new 10-year worldwide study shows sweetened food and drink as the major common thread connecting higher rates of the disease. Researchers found more than a 1% bump in diabetes cases for every 150 calorie increase in daily sugar consumption. That's about a can of soda.
Yeah, one soda. And it totally moves it up that much. And we know it's not just one soda. Right?
Yeah. So this study was published in the journal PLOS ONE on Wednesday. The residents of Hawaii rank their state tops when it comes to overall happiness. Now, California didn't even make the top 10 in the latest well-being survey by Gallup. However, don't let those numbers fool you because California is a huge state with varied demographics and topography. According to a breakdown of the numbers, those living along the coast between Sonoma County and Ventura give a huge thumbs up for where they live, flooding the top spots in a number of areas, including healthy behavior, life evaluation, emotional health, and work environment.
I just have to say, Nicole, I'm going to interrupt you for one moment. If you look at the map that Gallup provides, where it breaks up the state into its different districts, congressional districts, essentially our listening area. Yeah. if you take our listening area plus a little bit of the North Bay in the Bay Area and a little bit down into Ventura County, it's our listening area that's the happiest across the board. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. You're happy out there, folks.
Yeah.
You're happy.
And thank you.
Right.
So areas of the state that drag down the numbers as a whole include portions of the Central Valley and the Mojave Desert.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I feel bad for those areas. Mostly it's economic.
Yeah, definitely. So upcoming food trends are featured this morning by USA Today Online. Andy Murdoch with Lonely Planet asked fellow travel and food writers to give him ideas for the next big thing. If the findings are correct, then look for a Tahitian version of ceviche called poisson cru, I believe that's how you pronounce that.
Nice.
To arrive at a restaurant near you soon. So this dish means raw fish in English, and it's made with coconut milk. Or taco lovers may enjoy a popular dish in the Yucatan called a panucho, I believe.
Panucho.
Panucho. It's a bit like a small tostada, but the corn shell is puffed and then filled with refried beans.
I'm sold.
Yeah, I read that and I was like, that sounds good.
Right.
And finally, this summer may see more terator from Bulgaria. It's basically yogurt, cucumber, dill, and nuts that's a bit liquefied.
It's like a liquid salad almost.
Yeah, it sounds good.
A
Yeah,
little odd,
it sounds like what's that Greek sort of dressing?
Oh, right, like cucumber dressing.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, they're not that far apart, really, geographically. So that makes sense. We're gonna have to wait to get to the weather forecast,
Perfect.
Nicole, which is a little on the gloomy side, but that's cool. We're happy.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
Right, exactly. 8:14 the time. We're talking walnuts and the Mediterranean diet coming up in just a moment. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. Catch you in a bit. California business owners, entrepreneurs, farmers, authors, and other professionals, this message is for you. We're looking to highlight those of you who give back to the community, care about the environment, and have the health of our state as part of your business model or focus. Our new California Love website is in the beta testing phase. So, during the next few months, we're offering free listings to qualified people or business entities. It's a win-win situation. You help populate our site with quality, locally owned California companies, and we help direct customers to your business or product. Simply head over to CALUV.com. That's CA as in California, LUV as in a cute way to spell love.com, and enter the information for your business today. Why wouldn't you? It's easy and it's free. CALUV.com. The California Love Business Recommendation Tool. Hey, farmers market fans, listen up because we're launching a new show just for you. Join the Eat, Drink, Explore radio network each Thursday evening from 5:30 to 6 for a healthy dose of recipe sharing and food news. We broadcast our show live from the historic downtown San Luis Obispo Farmers Market, but the information shared is designed for anyone who has a love of fresh, seasonal produce and locally made artisan treats. So whether your favorite market is located at San Francisco's Ferry Plaza in downtown Santa Monica, or if you're simply a member of a CSA, you'll love our weekly Market Fresh, available live each Thursday evening at eatdrinkexplore.com. And if you missed the show, follow our updates on Facebook and Twitter for links to the recipes shared, video from the show, and other great information. Eat, Drink, Explore Radio's Market Fresh, helping perfect your California flavor.
Yo, what's up? This is the Black Eyed Peas, and we're here for RAD, recording artists, actors, and athletes against drunk driving. Music is one of the most important things in our lives, but nothing is more important than life itself. So when you drink and drive, you're risking the life of yourself and the lives of everybody on the road. Don't plan to drive, just plan ahead.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Seems everybody's going organic, including lawn care. Did you know communities across the country are converting their lawns, playgrounds, and playing fields to an organic care program? And it's working. You can safely control weeds and pests and have a beautiful lawn. Your kids, pets, and water supplies will be safer, and your neighbors will be green with envy. Oh, and in the long run, organic lawn care is cheaper than doing it the conventional way. Switch to organic lawn care today. Visit pesticidefreelawns.org. The folks who brought you this public service message. Check out pesticidefreelawns.org today.
The traditional light bulb, a groundbreaking invention in 1879. Other groundbreaking ideas from that time: the whalebone corset, the pedal-operated submarine, and the two-story outhouse. We've come a long way since then. It's time our light bulbs did the same. Visit EnergySavers.gov and learn about energy-saving light bulbs. See, these new bulbs are more efficient than the old ones, like a text message is more efficient than a carrier pigeon. They last longer, too, like how we humans last longer now that doctors use antibiotics instead of leeches. And they cut down on our energy costs, because in our own groundbreaking age of aeroplanes and moving pictures, we deserve a light bulb that saves us some cash. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
$8:19 the time now on this Sunday Funday morning. Great to have you with us, everyone. I'm your host, Randall White, joined by Nicole Powers, who's filling in for Patty Pyburn. Good morning, Nicole.
Good morning.
Now, I cut you off. The forecast says what?
Well, it says low to mid 60s, chance of showers, pretty much all over California. So not looking like it did on Friday or even yesterday.
But a week from today, the forecast looks
it's at
like
almost 80s.
Almost 80s.
So hopefully that'll stay true.
And sunshine. And I looked all over the state. That's pretty much the forecast. So that's okay. We need the rain. It's actually pretty dry. And I'm looking to book somebody to discuss that very topic, actually, with the California Water Department of Water Resources, I think it is. At any rate, good morning, everyone. Eat, Drink, Explore Radio here, and it is time to talk about the Mediterranean diet.
I'm very excited.
This is our health and fitness segment, and you know, Nicole, that the Mediterranean diet has been all over the news.
Yes.
Because of a study out of Spain that shows participants who followed a Mediterranean-style diet, including lots of seafood, nuts, legumes, which is a fancy word for beans, also whole grains, bread, love it, and those sorts of things, including a glass of wine a day, up to 7 glasses a week, showed a dramatically lower risk of heart disease.
Wonderful.
And it really is wonderful. And to join us to talk a little bit about that is registered dietitian Carol Burke Sloan. She is a contributor for the California Walnut Commission, who was tangentially related to this study. Welcome to the program, Carol.
Oh, good morning, Randall. Good morning, Nicole. How are you doing?
Great.
Great. Thank you for joining us. We're happy to have you here. And now, the California Walnut Commission must have been thrilled when this study came out.
Yes, of course. We were very excited that we can get the outcomes from eating walnuts out in a global sense, if you will. The California Walnut Commission did provide the walnuts for the study, so we were very happy to be approached and be part of it.
And that created a little bit of question marks over some people's head, like, well, is this study valid then? Because there was also some other contributors as well. A Spanish olive consortium provided olive oil and things. But most of the scientists that I've listened to have all across the board said the facts and figures are hard to argue with in this study.
Well, there's two reasons why walnuts were part of the nut group, and that's because walnuts are traditionally a part of the Mediterranean diet. And secondly is there's been much research on the cardiovascular benefits of eating walnuts, and because they were looking at lowering the risk of heart disease, walnuts were a very important part of this diet.
And so there are some other health benefits that you mentioned as well, correct?
Yes. Yes, that's very true. And I did want to mention that the subjects in this study, they ate a mixed nut group, if you will, but 50% of the mixed nut group were walnuts.
Oh, okay. And walnuts are, now I always think of them as being from California because we provide like 99% of the nation's walnuts, I think.
That's exactly right. Pretty much if you're eating walnuts across the country, they're coming from California, that's for sure.
That's so cool.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, but they have a world history that goes way beyond California.
Yes, that's true. I mean, California walnuts are called English walnuts or Persian walnuts. They actually come from the Middle East, and then just like many fruits and vegetables and nuts, traveled to the United States over the centuries and whatnot. But as I mentioned, farmers now are growing walnuts specifically in the Central Valley, right where you're at. Mm-hmm. And, they're a big part of a healthy diet and lifestyle, that's for sure.
And so what is a suggested serving then?
A suggested serving is an ounce, which is about a handful or a fourth of a cup.
Okay. Is that daily?
Yes, that is daily, and that's a very good point, Nicole, that I want to share. It's very important that the Mediterranean diet style, if you will, you need to eat it consistently. This isn't where you can eat a hamburger somewhere and then, throw on a pile of walnuts and feel that it balanced out.
You could ground up some walnuts and put it in the burger.
Yeah.
Now, that would be an excellent tip.
With a little blue cheese?
Yeah.
I keep straying farther and farther from this Mediterranean diet.
Right. See, I got to pull you back in as a dietitian here.
But, Carol, cheese can be included in this Mediterranean diet, but typically, historically, along the Mediterranean, cheese is used far more sparingly, and so are, like, say, cured meats and those sorts of things. They're included in the diet, but not in the proportions that we eat them here in the U.S.
That's very true. I must say that cheese and, like you said, other types of meats that are higher in saturated fat are more used as a flavoring or a sprinkle, if you will. It's not like the meat is the big part of the plate where you find that here in the United States quite often, unfortunately.
Right. I don't know if you are able to address this, but I had read that the study itself had to be cut short because for ethical reasons, the people conducting the study felt like if they continued keeping these other people on the non-Mediterranean diet, that it would be harmful to their health. Do I have that right? You
have that exactly right. I couldn't have said it any better myself. There were three groups. One group was eating the nut group, and the other one was enjoying olive oil, and then the other was following a low-fat diet. And they felt the people on the low-fat diet were not getting the benefits of the nuts and the olive oil, and it wasn't ethical to continue to allow them to be on that type of diet.
And now, also, as I understand it, the people on the low-fat diet weren't really following the low-fat diet they were supposed to. Like, they didn't lower their fat content as much as they should have. Do I have that right?
Yes, that is correct. They did start including more dietary interventions so that these people were also speaking with the dietitian on a more regular basis or on the same basis as they were with the other two groups. Mm-hmm. But it's, again, a typical, someone's just said, here, follow this low-fat diet, and they needed more interaction, if you will.
So I think Nicole and I are kind of wondering, what is it about walnuts or, nuts in general, I guess, but walnuts, since that's your expertise, what is it about walnuts that helps our heart so much?
Well, walnuts are the only tree nut that contain alpha-linolenic acid, which is an essential omega-3. And that's one thing as a dietitian, you can't just say, well, eat more nuts. You got to be more specific. You need to say you need to eat walnuts because they have alpha-linolenic acid. Or you need to say you need to eat bananas because they have potassium. You can't just give it a general overlay. You have to be very specific because certain foods have certain nutrients that are important.
Now, if we're to buy walnuts at the store, do you have a suggestion of, what's the best kind to receive these benefits?
Well, as a representative of the California Walnut Commission, I represent all of the growers, so there's no specific brand. We just, want people to eat walnuts more generally. But one thing that's very important is that walnuts need to be stored in a cool place, even in the refrigerator or freezer, because of the high polyunsaturated fat content.
They'll go rancid otherwise?
Yes, they will. They will oxidize or go rancid, and then it has an off flavor that unfortunately isn't very delightful. So I would go to a grocery store where you know that they're storing things properly and keeping them in a cooler, dry place. They're not stored over, outside or somewhere too warm.
I need to start storing our nuts in the refrigerator because we do have a cabinet at home where, the pine nuts are kept and the sunflower seeds and the walnuts and that sort of thing. And sometimes I forget that they're in there, and then I'll make a salad and I'll be like, why didn't I put those in there? But they do. They go bad over time. And I've tasted them and thought, it definitely has an off taste, So
yeah, no, storage is very important.
Very, very important. Well, all month long, I've made the pledge, the month of March, I am working to be on this Mediterranean diet. Nicole was out to dinner with our audio guy, Anthony, and me the other night. We went to a place here in town that really kind of features that sort of tapas-style menu. And it just like Nicole and I were saying, it's a really easy diet to sort of conform to.
Oh, that is one of the beauties of this whole program is that it's easy to incorporate eating walnuts as part of a salad or even as a dessert with dried fruits. And olive oil, what's better than a whole grain baguette dipped in olive oil and balsamic vinegar?
You can say that again. All right, Carol Burke Sloan, a registered dietitian with the California Walnut Commission. You can get more information online if you go to eatdrinkexplore.com. Under today's program summary, we have a direct link. It's walnuts.org. Carol, thank you so much for joining us today, and congratulations on the study.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, stick around, everyone. We're going to tell you how to love your city coming up in just a moment. Some of California's best restaurants, hotels, and homes are perched on steep hillsides with incredible views. But those buildings weren't just thrown there. They were placed on foundations designed and perfected by experts. Throughout much of the Bay Area, those hillside foundations were placed by S.S. Caveney Construction. With nearly 3 decades of experience dealing with the steepest and most difficult terrain, S.S. Caveney Construction is well known for being the go-to company when quality is your number one concern. Hillsides in California, as you know, are prone to drainage issues that can lead to erosion and slippage. S.S. Caveney Construction will solve those problems for you. Get a quote today by contacting the team you need. Head to S.S. Caveney, that's CAVENEY.com, and get your foundation placed correctly the first time.
Hello, this is Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and I want to tell you about my new favorite discovery, Yosemite National Park. I recently went there with my husband and children, and we walked the trails to see the breathtaking waterfalls, admired the grand meadows, and giant sequoias. But the future of our national parks is uncertain. Many challenges face our parks today, from polluted air and water to development threats outside their borders and inadequate funding to protect our national heritage. That's why the National Parks Conservation Association recently completed a decade-long assessment of the challenges facing our national parks, along with proposed actions that will ensure our children and grandchildren will be able to enjoy the parks as we have. Our national parks have inspired Americans for nearly 100 years. As we approach the centennial of the National Park Service in 2016, please join us in helping to protect our national park legacy. Find out how at www.mpca.org.
What if it wasn't always about getting ahead? What if you didn't care about being on the fast track? What if your career goals were to change? Instead of flying off to the big interview, what if you flew somewhere else altogether? To embark on a different track, to volunteer in ways you never dreamed of, in places you never imagined yourself being. Like a tiny island in the Pacific, barely visible on a map, but where needs are easy to see. Or a village on the African continent, where just a little training in HIV awareness can change the fate of thousands. What if you decided to share your skills with others and help someone else get ahead? Peace Corps. Life is calling. How far will you go? To find out more, call 800-424-8580 or visit peacecorps.gov.
California business owners, entrepreneurs, farmers, authors, and other professionals, this message is for you. We're looking to highlight those of you who give back to the community, care about the environment, and have the health of our state as part of your business model or focus. Our new California Love website is in the beta testing phase. So, during the next few months, we're offering free listings to qualified people or business entities. It's a win-win situation. You help populate our site with quality, locally owned California companies, and we help direct customers to your business or product. Simply head over to CALUV.com. That's CA as in California, LUV as in a cute way to spell love.com, and enter the information for your business today. Why wouldn't you? It's easy and it's free. CALUV.com, the California Love Business Recommendation Tool. And welcome back to the program, everyone. It is now 8:33 on this Sunday Funday morning. Great to have you with us. Another beautiful day here in California. This is our business segment when we typically take a look at like up-and-coming businesses and entrepreneurs, that sort of thing. But what about up-and-coming cities? Cities that really might just need a little boost, or maybe they're already doing okay, but they just want to elevate themselves even more. Well, there's one man who believes you are the person to make that happen. You, the resident of that city. His name is Peter Kayegama, and he joins us right now. He'll be speaking, by the way, in San Luis Obispo on California's Central Coast tomorrow. You can catch him if you're in the area. If not, you can find any number of his talks online via YouTube. He does a number of those TED Talks. If you've ever checked those out before, they're very well done. And Peter joins us now. Hey, Peter.
Hey, Randall, how are you?
Well, fantastic, and we're so happy that you're coming to the Central Coast to share your love of cities. That's the name of your book, For the Love of Cities. This talk you're giving tomorrow in San Luis Obispo is For the Love of San Luis Obispo. What got you so tied into getting people pumped about their cities?
Well, several years ago, I had been doing a lot of work around, city development, community economic development, talent attraction, talent retention, these kinds of things. I was producing conferences around the country. I was traveling a lot, seeing lots of really interesting places, lots of very challenged places, too. And what I kept running into were these amazing people who would want to show me their cities, these people who were, for lack of a better word, in love with their place. And they would show me amazing things about, very challenged places, and you couldn't help but see the beauty in all of these places. And it got me thinking, it's like, no one's really telling their story. These amazing folks who are flying below the radar in a lot of cases, but are absolutely, positively making our cities better places to live, work, and play.
Well, your timing seems great because we're at a time in the nation where we're recovering. People are starting to take a look at their cities and wondering how we can make them more vibrant, more business-friendly, all those sorts of things. And so I bet you're getting great response right about now.
I think it has been a very timely message. You know, when cities are up against it, you know, financially, and they can't do all the stuff that they have traditionally done, now they're looking around going, what the heck are we going to do? Because our citizens expect our cities to keep getting better, even in these tough economic times. Well, I'm trying to get people to realize that, you know, these things that emotionally engage us with our place, they don't cost a whole lot of money, but they do require us to think about the problem in a different way.
Now, you speak all over the nation when it comes to this topic, and you visit a wide variety of cities, but I imagine there are common themes when it comes to what people can do to help make their city more vibrant. What would you list as, say, your top three?
Well, it's actually my top one.
Oh, okay.
When it comes to, you know, ordinary citizens, most everyday citizens, they may say they love their city and they mean well, and I believe them. But most citizens don't see themselves in the role of city maker. They think that's something that, you know, the professionals do. You know, city council, mayors, you know, planners, architects, all of that kind of stuff. That official sort of, you know, class. What I try to get people to realize is that they do play a very important role, and that we, everyday citizens, can and really should be city makers. And what I try to tell those folks is you have to start small. Everyone, you know, would love to jump on the great, you know, big, great idea and stuff like that, but really big ideas are really hard to execute. They're really expensive. They take a lot of time. So I try to get people to realize that, you know, hey, if you want to get in the game, and you should, let's get in the game at a really small, hyper-local level. Do something in your own neighborhood, maybe practically in your own backyard. Get a little success, get a little confidence, see, hey, that was cool, we did something, and build on that. So I say aim low.
And that would include, like, what, maybe like a block party or getting some of your neighbors together to pick up trash or along those lines?
You know, those are the kind of the typical things that one would expect. But you run into, you know, these quirky, weird little passion projects, you know, that people have. And one that I think is very funny is one that came out of Edmonton, Alberta. And this group of people who had these fruit trees, and they had all this fruit that was falling on the ground, and said, this stuff goes to waste, and it also attracts rodents and things like that when it sits there. So what they did is they got a little micro grant, and they went and they created this little bicycle-based food juicing machine. So basically, this food juicing thing comes around to different neighborhoods when people call and say, hey, could you bring the juicer over? And they come over and they have like these little mini sort of, fruit mashing parties and things like that. I thought, now there's a project that no, community foundation, arts council, city is ever going to fund because it's kind of weird and kind of ridiculous. But it absolutely, it fit a hyper niched need. And I bet, the people who made that happen, they're thinking, look at what we did. And people love this thing. And it's, again, completely out of left field. And that's kind of the genius of when you open up the door to citizens. Yeah. We as the official folks, we have sort of the standard playbook. And you listed that. Okay, let's have a block party. Let's have, a volunteer, cleanup day. Okay, that's fine. But if you open it up to the broad community, folks have got some really different, really cool ideas that they think, oh, no one would ever go for that. But you know what? They just might.
And then I imagine the energy that is created by the residents getting together in this sort of way then bleeds over to visitors when they come into town. They feel that energy. They see some of these projects. Maybe they even buy one of these, juices there in Alberta. And so is that your goal, to sort of get this energy to spread? Absolutely. Emotions are contagious,
when you feel good about your city, you carry yourself a little differently. You talk about your city a little differently. And me as a visitor here, when people feel positive about their place, I feel that. So I think it is one of those things. You can create a virtuous cycle if you get more people saying that they love their city and then expressing that in some way, big or small. And that really does matter, especially, like I said, in these tough economic times. People familiar with San Luis Obispo may know that Oprah Winfrey had a segment on her show calling it the happiest place in the world to live. It was listed in another person's book. I think that's what spurred the Oprah segment. It is well known for being a place that people truly love and engage in the city, and it's surrounded by just beauty and these sorts of things. It might
seem odd to some people that the city would need someone like you to come in to help boost the city.
Right.
What's the purpose when you come to San Luis Obispo?
Well, there's an old adage that says, why do you sometimes preach to the choir?
Right.
Because that's how you get them to sing. And
I like that.
And who can, how could we not have more, not want to have more love? So I think there's always room for improvement. And certainly, your reputation here precedes you. And you're right. This is obviously a fabulous community with a lot of, very positive stuff and a lot of people who are really passionate about their place. I think, going back to what I was saying before, what I think I can do is not, teach you how to love your city more. That's something you guys have to decide. But I think I can maybe help, show some examples of how to bridge that gap from saying, saying you love your city and sort of sitting on the sidelines thinking, I'm not sure how I fix this or how I engage with the city, into turning those people into saying, oh, okay, here's how other places have done it. Here's some great examples that that Peter showed us of small, cheap, easy, really fun things that people had done that looked like they had a really positive impact on that place. So, hey, we could do that. So that's what I'm trying to do, is maybe sort of a Pied Piper of ideas, if you will.
Now, I'm looking at the sheet for tomorrow's workshop that you're holding. By the way, it will be at the City Library, 995 Palm Street in downtown San Luis Obispo. It starts at 6 o'clock in the evening, so even if you work, you should be able to find time to head on down there if you live in San Luis or work in San Luis Obispo and see Peter's workshop. One of the listings for what is included says love notes, samples of what people love from around the world. And so what are some examples of love notes included in that list?
Sure. Well, I talk about a love note is, I liken it to the handwritten note that goes with the gift, in our everyday sort of lives. Those small little things that have an outsized impact on the way we feel about a gift and about the person. Well, love notes are things that cities can give to citizens, and sometimes citizens give back to their cities. And I use several examples in my talk, and a good one, that probably most people are familiar with, is Millennium Park in Chicago. Well, granted, that whole thing is a big love note, but most people probably know that big silver balloon kind of thing they call the beam. The
bean?
Well, yeah, I think that's a fantastic example of a love note, because it completely doesn't make any sort of logical sense. But when you engage with it, you go up to it, you find your reflection, you touch it, you're interacting with it like a funhouse mirror. You kind of realize that this is something kind of special, and it has a small thing in the grand scheme of Chicago, but clearly has an outsized impact on the way people feel about that. And I talk about farmers markets. Farmers markets are all over North America now, and we tend to think of them as, oh yeah, I really like our farmers market, it's very sweet. But if you actually start really digging into what people love about their places, you'll find that farmers market, and I know yours is on Thursday night, is one of those places that's very special to people, because that's where they go. They're going to see friends and neighbors. They're going to taste new things. They're going to see new things. They're going to interact with their community in a very special way. And they don't necessarily think of it as how central it is to the way they think and feel about their place. But if they start to examine it, they go, you're right, that's pretty darn important. And that's a great example of a love note.
And it's become a local ritual and tradition here in San Luis Obispo, and I know you believe that's important for cities. We have about 30 seconds left. If you could explain other sort of rituals and traditions that you think it's important for cities to take on.
Yeah, families have rituals and traditions. We should have the same kind of thing in our cities. I talk of some great examples from around the country, but what makes a ritual and tradition special is the fact that, it's something that is central to our identity. Every place probably has, a holiday parade, but if your holiday parade happens to be in July, that's kind of different. That's kind of special, and that's something that could be unique to your city. And those are the kinds of things that we need to bring to the forefront and let people realize this is important. This does make us unique. This does make us special, and this is why I love my city.
Peter Kayegama, he will be in San Luis Obispo tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock at the Downtown Library, 995 Palm Street. You can meet him in person if you're in the area. If not, I highly recommend you check out his stuff online or get his book, For the Love of Cities. Peter Kayegama, thank you so much for joining us today. Business owners,
thank you, Randall.
Entrepreneurs, farmers, authors, and other professionals, this message is for you. We're looking to highlight those of you who give back to the community, care about the environment, and have the health of our state as part of your business model or focus. Our new California Love website is in the beta testing phase. So, during the next few months, we're offering free listings to qualified people or business entities. It's a win-win situation. You help populate our site with quality, locally owned California companies, and we help direct customers to your business or product. Simply head over to CALUV.com. That's CA as in California, LUV as in a cute way to spell love.com, and enter the information for your business today. Why wouldn't you? It's easy and it's free. CALUV.com, the California Love Business Recommendation Tool. Hey, farmers market fans, listen up because we're launching a new show just for you. Join the Eat, Drink, Explore radio network each Thursday evening from 5:30 to 6 for a healthy dose of recipe sharing and food news. We broadcast our show live from the historic downtown San Luis Obispo Farmers Market, but the information shared is designed for anyone who has a love of fresh, seasonal produce and locally made artisan treats. So whether your favorite market is located at San Francisco's Ferry Plaza in downtown Santa Monica, or if you're simply a member of a CSA, you'll love our weekly Market Fresh, available live each Thursday evening at eatdrinkexplore.com. And if you missed the show, follow our updates on Facebook and Twitter for links to the recipes shared, video from the show, and other great information. Eat, Drink, Explore Radio's Market Fresh, helping perfect your California flavor.
Seems everybody's going organic, including lawn care. Did you know communities across the country are converting their lawns, playgrounds, and playing fields to an organic care program? And it's working. You can safely control weeds and pests and have a beautiful lawn. Your kids, pets, and water supplies will be safer, and your neighbors will be green with envy. Oh, and in the long run, organic lawn care is cheaper than doing it the conventional way. Switch to organic lawn care today. Visit pesticidefreelawns.org. The folks who brought you this public service message. Check out pesticidefreelawns.org today.
Across the nation, people are stepping up for their mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, partners, sisters, and brothers. They're leading the way and walking to end Alzheimer's, the sixth leading cause of death in the nation. Together, we can reclaim the future. Walk to end Alzheimer's. Start a team. Join a team. Go to alz.org.
California business owners, entrepreneurs, farmers, authors, and other professionals, this message is for you. We're looking to highlight those of you who give back to the community, care about the environment, and have the health of our state as part of your business model or focus. Our new California Love website is in the beta testing phase. So, during the next few months, we're offering free listings to qualified people or business entities. It's a win-win situation. You help populate our site with quality, locally owned California companies, and we help direct customers to your business or product. Simply head over to CALUV.com. That's CA as in California, LUV as in a cute way to spell love.com, and enter the information for your business today. Why wouldn't you? It's easy and it's free. CALUV.com, the California Love Business Recommendation Tool.
You've waited all week, and it's finally here. The Eat, Drink, Explore Weekly Travel Deals Extravaganza.
Yes, it is. 8:49 now the time here on this Sunday Funday morning. I love the travel deals segment. We get to speak with wonderful people who have either they highlight an area that we could visit, or they tell us how we can visit a lot of areas at a reduced price. And
which is what we'll be doing today.
That's right. And that is the beautiful voice of Nicole Powers, filling in for our Patty Pyburn this morning. Nicole, doing a great job.
Thank you.
But you always do. And
well, thanks.
For those of you that live in the San Luis Obispo area, you hear Nicole's beautiful voice every Thursday night when she gives us the street report during our Market Fresh show. So, this is the Travel Deals segment, and we turn to, once again, Travelzoo's Gabe Saglie with the week's best bargains, culled from the Travelzoo's Top 20. Gabe always gives us a great insight, and a very good day to you, Gabe.
Hey, Randall. Good to be with you. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I took a look at the list that you sent me yesterday, and
What do you think?
I love it. I love the number one for sure, and that is a Yosemite yurt at Yosemite National Park. Now, have the yurts replaced the cabins at Curry Village because of the whole, what was that disease that was spreading because of the mice droppings?
Yes. I'm not sure if they've actually gone in there and put up a bunch of yurts up, but Yosemite is definitely one of these national park areas. They began back in Oregon in the 1990s. Now about 17 different states will put these up. These are these sort of circular wood paneled dwellings. Historically, they go back centuries and centuries, but to Middle Asia, but. There's sort of a unique, rustic way to enjoy a place like Yosemite National Park. But the neat thing is that these things are outfitted with all the home away from home comforts, like private bathrooms, satellite TV, full kitchens, and of course it puts you in the heart of all that great action there in Yosemite National Park. In fact, you can spend 3 nights in a yurt for $260. It includes a 7-day Yosemite National Park pass.
That's a good deal.
And it's good for travel through April weekends.
Yeah, that's a great deal. It can be expensive to stay at the park. I've stayed at the Awani and the Yosemite Lodge and some other places. The price can really get high. Did you say satellite TV inside these yurts?
Got satellite TV in there. I mean, really, it's like, there's, for a lot of people, maybe no reason to leave the yurt, but come on, you've got Mother Nature, and right at your doorstep there. You've got these. They'll put these yurts up. They've got them either along the meadows. They've got them on the hillsides. You can pick for a little bit more money the ones that are right along the river. So you can sort of pick your setting. And the fact that the pass to the park is included with this deal, I think, is just a convenient way to go. $260 for 3 nights.
If the Parks Department is listening and would like to hire me, I'm more than happy to go to each of the yurts and personally slap the people watching their satellite TV.
I know. Kick them out of there.
Okay. And so we wrapped up Yosemite. Okay.
So Gabe, this next one sounds quite different than, although it is luxury camping, but is this time of year good for deals in Las Vegas?
You know what? Any time of year is good in Las Vegas, as long as you keep 2 things in mind. 1, make sure no conventions are in town. 2, make sure it's not a holiday weekend. Otherwise, you'll find bargains galore there in Sin City. This is a place called the Platinum Hotel and Spa, 4-star property. You're just a block off of the Strip. It is one of the more highly reviewed properties in Las Vegas. They do these great little free Saturday morning yoga classes right there on the pool deck. But you can get a nearly 1,000 square foot 1-bedroom suite.
Wow.
For $99. And, private balcony, whirlpool tub, full kitchen, travel March through May. And, there's enough going on in a lot of these resorts where you can stay there for much of the day. And then, of course, if you want the thrill of the Strip, it's just a block away.
And that's only $99 a night, you said?
Yeah.
That's it.
Wow, that's probably as large as my house.
Right.
Yeah, actually, my first apartment, I think, was way smaller than this, and I paid way more than $99 a night. So, no, I think it's one of the great deals there out of Cincinnati this week.
Vegas is always a good deal if you stay away from the gambling. So
that's it.
That's the trick. Okay, the Fairmont Chateau Whistler. This is really one of the world's premier properties, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, this is an absolutely gorgeous resort. A lot of these Canadian-based Fairmont, Fairmont is a Canadian company. A lot of their resorts at these mountain resort destinations throughout Canada are beautiful. This is one of the great places to stay there in Whistler. The Fairmont Chateau is right at the foot of Blackcomb Mountain. They got a great, very richly après ski lounge. They got a slopeside whirlpool. They even have a wedding chapel on site. If you really get romantic on the slopes, just say "I do" at the end of your run.
And you're like, "No, I want to take another trip up the mountain."
You can't back out of it after
right.
a certain point. But the trick with any ski destination is go toward the tail end of ski season, because all of these resorts want to end the season with a bang. So if you travel in April, you're spending at this 4-diamond Fairmont Chateau $136 a night. Travel in March this month is $194. It's been in the hundreds and hundreds for January and February. So again, you wait till the tail end of the season, you save some big money. By the way, Whistler is famous for having the longest ski season in North America because they get so much. In fact, I think snow is falling as we speak there. They get so much snow throughout such a long window. So you got all of March and April to play with.
So if snow isn't your thing and you'd like to be warm, we can head to Kauai.
Yeah. Well, Kauai's been getting a lot of buzz lately, and this is a great place to stay if you've got a family going, maybe a multi-generational trip, out to Hawaii, a couple of families staying together. This is the Koloa Landing at Poipu Beach. It's a Wyndham Grand Resort 4-star complex on 25 acres right along famous Poipu Beach. You get a 2-bedroom villa that sleeps 6 people, and for 3 nights, it's $799. So if you do the math, you're spending a little over $200 a night for
6
3
people.
nights. A fantastic deal because you get so much elbow room. 2-bedroom villa equipped with gourmet chef's kitchens with high-end appliances. You get plenty of elbow room. You get a washer and dryer in your unit, so you're basically at home. But really nicely done up. 25 acres right there on Poipu Beach. $799 for 3 nights. $12.99 for 5 nights. But again, because you can fit so many people there, you do the math. I think it's a great bargain there for travel all the way through April.
And Kauai is so beautiful. The Garden Island and Poipu Beach, I've stayed there, is just so stunning, and this property looks fantastic. Now, if you don't feel like flying halfway across the Pacific, there is a somewhat, deserty tropical place that's just to the south of us, Cabo San Lucas.
Yeah, and this is a phenomenal deal. I'll explain to you in a second why it's such a good deal, but it's the Club Tesoro at the Wyndham Cabo San Lucas Resort. A newly renovated property. You get to stay in a junior suite here for 4 nights. Get this now, for $299. That's for the 4-night stretch. And that comes with your choice of either a sunset dinner cruise or a whale-watching cruise. Now, $299 for 4 nights. What is that, like $75 a night? These guys are not right on the water. You're about a 5-minute stretch from the water. You are walking distance of downtown Cabo. A lot of the cantinas there in the night spots. Some of the shopping there, of course. But because it's not right on the water, they've got to be that much more aggressive with the pricing. So, fantastic deal. The Club Tesoro, that's for travel March and April, including weekends. So, viable spring break getaway for last planners out there.
I love it. And the final one we're not going to be able to get to is a cruise to Australia and New Zealand on Celebrity Solstice, which is the same ship that's doing the California Beer Cruise up the coast. Yeah, so I hopefully will be a part of that. Coming up, Gabe Saglie with Travelzoo. You can always get the full top 20. We have a link for you at eatdrinkexplore.com under our program summaries. Gabe, thank you as always.
Hey, thanks, guys. Happy travel.
Yes, and stick around, everyone, because just after the break here, we will be speaking with a Napa company that is aging their wine under the water.
That's different.
I love that. And then also a local Central Coast whiskey maker. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. We're back in just a minute. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break. We will be back shortly. Get the latest audio, video, and breaking news from Eat, Drink, Explore Media by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're easy to find. The URL extension for all of those sites is simply Eat, Drink, Explore. Thank you for your patience. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break, and we'll be back on the air shortly. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break. We will be back shortly. Get the latest audio, video, and breaking news from Eat, Drink, Explore Media by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're easy to find. The URL extension for all of those sites is simply Eat, Drink, Explore. Thank you for your patience. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break, and we'll be back on the air shortly.
You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. Now here's the host of our show, Mr. Randall White.
Well, I don't want to take all the credit at 9 o'clock here on this Sunday Funday. I'm also joined by the lovely, talented Nicole Powers.
Good
Hello,
morning.
Nicole. And people are like, Nicole, what? Where's Patty?
Where's Patty?
Patty's in Disneyland.
She's with Mickey.
She's making her dreams come true.
With Tinkerbell and all those.
Now, fast flash over to Patty, and you see her there, like with dragging the kids around, and Mom, I want this. Patty's dreams are really coming true. No, I'm sure she's having a great time there at Disneyland. But she did text our audio guy Anthony this morning saying that she
misses us.
Missing us. Yeah,
we miss her too.
We miss her too. But it's great to have you on board, Nicole.
Thank
we can't
you.
do it much longer because
Love
you'll
it.
be graduating from Cal Poly soon, and your class schedule won't mess with our Sunday Fun Day,
No.
so that's good.
Yeah,
But our
lovely.
Thursday night Farmers Market, you hear her here on The Crush at the end of our 5:30 half hour, right around 5:50. We hook up with you, and you talk about the entertainment that's at the market. And then you feature always some really great vendor.
I do.
Well, I saw your flower woman the other day.
Ruth.
Ruth, the woman who's been at every market since.
Yes, she's
78.
She's 83 years old, and she's been at every single farmer's market except for one in the past. I think it was like 33 years, and that was because she had a hip surgery.
Right.
But she's been selling her flowers ever since, actually even before the Thursday night farmer's market even opened. So
That's
she is a
amazing.
devout vendor.
I'll say. What? Hip surgery? She couldn't make it?
I know. Come on. Bring a wheelchair.
Right. Come on, Ruth. No, I saw her at the market last Thursday night, and I thought, there she is.
Yeah, she's a joy.
The woman Nicole pointed out for us.
Yeah.
Hey, this hour of the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network is brought to you by our good friends at Eberly Winery. That's in Paso Robles, of course. Open daily from 10 in the morning until 6 o'clock in the afternoon with complimentary wine tasting and cave tours. And if you do a little research, you'll know that they are among the minority when it comes to free tastings. Voted by Wine Spectator as one of the best tours on the Central Coast, Eberly Winery is located on 46 East in Paso Robles. Log on to eberlywinery.com for more on that. And if wine's not your thing, but beer is, apparently, Nicole tells me there is a beer festival next weekend in San Luis Obispo?
Yes, next Saturday. And it's not just a beer festival. It says it's an extreme beer festival.
Oh, well then sign me up.
So that'll be at the Vets Hall next Saturday.
At the Vets Hall.
1 p.m.
The Vets Hall is on Monterey? Monterey and Grand? Monterey and Grand. Okay,
that's right. Oh, up the street from Cal Poly.
Yeah, right. And so I think I went to a wedding there years ago that was held at the
Yeah,
Vets
it's a
Hall.
pretty big venue, I believe.
That's a good place for a beer festival and a manageable size. And does it say where the beer is coming from? Like, is it focused on the Central Coast or anything?
Celebrate brewers who push the boundaries of brewing and raise a fist at the norm.
Oh,
okay,
good.
okay, well, I guess that's why it's called extreme. So it doesn't say where they'll be coming from, but I guess maybe that there'll be interesting flavors.
You'll see a lot of fists in the air.
Yeah, exactly.
My beer is not normal.
So make sure to check that out. It costs $35, it says here.
35 bones.
And you can
right.
you can check that out on the Tribune's website at
Okay.
sanluisobispo.com, and you can buy tickets right there.
You know what we'll do? We'll tweet that out. We'll tweet it and Facebook post it. So if you want to find it, you can just go to our Twitter feed, which is at Eat, Drink, Explore, or our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/.
And you know, Randall, I'm actually just looking at the website right now. There's 2 beer festivals in SLO.
What?
Next Saturday. There's also the Craft Beer Festival.
Where's that held? Is this one like an extension of that one?
Yeah, it says it's at the Vets Hall. So.
Oh, okay.
So it's 2 in 1.
It's a twofer next weekend. All for one
Yeah.
low price. 9:04 the time right now. You're listening to Crush 92.5 FM. This is the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. We're back in just a moment with underwater wine aging. Yeah, maybe they should try that here on the Central Coast. We've got the coast right here. Stick around. California business owners, entrepreneurs, farmers, authors, and other professionals, this message is for you. We're looking to highlight those of you who give back to the community, care about the environment, and have the health of our state as part of your business model or focus. Our new California Love website is in the beta testing phase. So, during the next few months, we're offering free listings to qualified people or business entities. It's a win-win situation. You help populate our site with quality, locally owned California companies, and we help direct customers to your business or product. Simply head over to CALUV.com. That's CA as in California, LUV as in a cute way to spell love.com, and enter the information for your business today. Why wouldn't you? It's easy and it's free. CALUV.com, the California Love Business Recommendation Tool.
You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network.
Fabulous.
Live every Sunday with the very latest food, beverage, and travel trends.
Amazing.
Now here's the host of our show, Mr. Randall White.
Good Sunday, Funday morning, 9:06 the time. And for some of our alert viewers, and I say if you're listening to the radio, you're like a viewer, we do a video simulcast at eatdrinkexplore.com. My lovely cohort in crime this morning, Nicole Powers, filling in for Patty Pyburn. Hello,
Hi, Randall.
Nicole.
Hi, Randall.
So that you were not part of a segment last hour, and people that were watching online...
It was also very sunny.
Yeah, might have thought... Why is it so sunny in San Luis Obispo? I thought there were clouds and a chance of rain. We had to record it on Friday because Peter Kayegama is about 3,000 feet over Texas right now as he's flying from Florida to the Central Coast to give his pep talk on how to love your city. And so it just wasn't possible to have him on the show live, so we recorded it on Friday.
Well, I'm glad you did. I found that really interesting.
But I guarantee you we're live right now. I'm trying to think what I could... There was no Giants game yesterday. It was on Friday. I was trying to think if I could like throw out a score or something I could tell you, prove to you that we're live right now. Yeah, no, there's no way I can do it. Just trust us.
Yeah, just trust.
Full disclosure. Hey, I disclosed the fact that one segment was recorded.
Right.
We almost never do that unless there's no other way to have the guest on. Then we'll go ahead and throw it down that way. So I have yet to mention today that this is the 1-year anniversary of our show.
That's right.
It's show number 52. So we do one a week, and there's 52 weeks in a year. I don't have to explain that, right? So that's really exciting that we've made it one full year, and during that year we picked up listeners on the northern half of the Central Coast and into Silicon Valley through KSCO AM 1080. They came on board in September. So,
how many listeners do we encompass?
Well, there are 3.5 million people that live within the sound of our signal, and that would be the strong sound signal, not where it's all fuzzy, but in the strong sound area, there's 3.5 million potential listeners. Okay. So I highly recommend anyone listening right now go to their next door neighbor and wake them up and then say, if you're not listening, you should be.
There's a lot of potential.
There's a lot of potential out there. Yeah, we have a fun fan base, and they interact with us through our Facebook and Twitter feeds on a regular basis. You can also go old school and email us, which is funny to think of that as old school. It's radio, which is pretty simple, radio at eatdrinkexplore.com. If you can't write any of that down, just type in Eat, Drink, Explore into your Google search window, and we are definitely the very first thing to come up. So a very good Sunday fun day to you. We've got a mix of sun and clouds and maybe even a sprinkle or two. We could use a lot more in the way of sprinkles.
It's hardly rained at all this year.
I know. We had a wet start, and then somebody turned off the faucet. Which is really too bad because we are a big ag state, we're a big tourism state, and we're pushing 40 million people now, so we have a lot of need for water, and the Sierra snowpack is nowhere near it should be. We had a dry year last year. The year before was very wet. We will take a closer look at our water situation here in California on next week's show to because this week does have a mix of rain in it.
So hopefully that'll look up for next week's segment.
I really hope so. I hope that, when we do the segment next week, the Department of Water Resources says, wow, we got way more rain than we thought we would. That would be great. Okay, so speaking of agriculture in the state, one of our big, giant ag sectors is the billion-dollar wine industry here in California, multi-billion-dollar. Just exports alone, $1.43 billion from California last year.
And we talked about that last week.
We did.
Correct?
We had
it was record high of exports or something.
Exactly. We just keep breaking records. The California Wine Institute was on to talk about that last week. And this week, we're talking about a twist in aging wine. Okay. Your reds really need to be held for a while. And in most cases, the winery does that on property and, goes there and turns the bottles every so often. Called riddling, I believe the riddling rack. I hope I have that right. We'll find out.
We'll ask in just a
moment.
We
will ask. Well, there's a winery in Napa. I saw an article in the LA Times that caught my attention last week. And it was about a winery that is aging their bottles underwater. I'm going to have to clarify whether this is under this. I'm not familiar with the Charleston, South Carolina port, so I'm not sure how much that is the Atlantic or if it's its own body of water. But anyway, that's where they're doing it. And there's several reasons why. And we can find out why right now from Gustavo Gonzalez. He's with Mira Napa there in the beautiful Napa Valley. Gustavo is the winemaker. Welcome to the program, sir.
Hi, thank you very much, and congratulations on your anniversary.
Thank you. We're very happy to hit 1 year here on the show, and happy to have you as a guest on that program. So you must have people from all over asking you, what? Underwater wine? What's the deal? What is the deal? How'd you come up with this idea?
We do, yeah. This has caused a lot of curiosity, with a lot of people. And the reason we decided to do this is, as a winemaker, you only have so many tools that you share with everybody. Everybody kind of does the same thing in a sense. And we've all read the stories of the shipwrecks that had champagne recovered, and the champagne was fantastic. So we thought, why don't we try to age our wine in the sea for a little bit and see what happens, see how it turns out. I mean, I don't know how it's going to turn out, but it's a fun little experiment to try anyway.
Now, I know that Charleston is near the coast, and there is a harbor where this wine was placed underwater. Is that considered the Atlantic?
It's part of the harbor, so it is partially considered the Atlantic.
Okay.
So you guys are based out of Napa, California, correct?
Correct, yeah. We're in Napa. There's it's a three-man team. Two of us are here in California, and then our third person, our president, is actually in Charleston.
Were they there before you guys started this, or how did you guys end up submerging the wine in the Charleston Harbor?
As opposed to, say, off the coast of San Francisco, right?
Well, we get asked that question, too. Why didn't we do it in Monterey, or why didn't you do it in San Francisco? And we thought, well, Charleston is kind of far from the Napa Valley from California wine, and our president is there, but it does have quite a thriving food and wine scene.
Yeah.
And it was named one of the best travel cities a year or two ago by one of the top publications. So we thought, it might be kind of neat to bring some of the Napa Valley out there, do this experiment in the harbor, and then round up some of the people from these top restaurants later on to help us evaluate the wine and see how it tastes.
So your guys' business must have expanded then since you've been there.
Yeah, quite a bit. Mm-hmm. We have pretty good business in that area, too. So because one of our partners is there, we tend to do a lot of marketing in that area and try to push our wines there.
Well, there are several aspects to this that I'm curious about. I know that the water off the coast of California doesn't change much. The temperature doesn't change much from summer to winter. It's typically always somewhere in the mid-50s, I believe, range, which is nice and consistent. Seems like a range that wine would like. I want to find out about the water off the coast of Charleston. I think of that water being warmer, because that is the South, and you think of Florida and those, that whole thing. The water's like bathtub temperature. So when we come back after the commercial break, Gustavo, we want to ask you about the water temperatures, consistency, and also the rocking, swaying motion that you might get underwater and how that might help the wine. We're speaking with Gustavo Gonzalez. He's the winemaker at Mira Napa. He's discussing their new experiment to age wine underwater. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. 9:14 the time. We're back in just a moment. California business owners, entrepreneurs, farmers, authors, and other professionals, this message is for you. We're looking to highlight those of you who give back to the community, care about the environment, and have the health of our state as part of your business model or focus. Our new California Love website is in the beta testing phase. So, during the next few months, we're offering free listings to qualified people or business entities. It's a win-win situation. You help populate our site with quality, locally owned California companies, and we help direct customers to your business or product. Simply head over to CALUV.com. That's CA as in California, LUV as in a cute way to spell love.com, and enter the information for your business today. Why wouldn't you? It's easy and it's free. CALUV.com, the California Love Business Recommendation Tool. Hey, farmers market fans, listen up because we're launching a new show just for you. Join the Eat, Drink, Explore radio network each Thursday evening from 5:30 to 6 for a healthy dose of recipe sharing and food news. We broadcast our show live from the historic downtown San Luis Obispo Farmers Market, but the information shared is designed for anyone who has a love of fresh, seasonal produce and locally made artisan treats. So whether your favorite market is located at San Francisco's Ferry Plaza in downtown Santa Monica, or if you're simply a member of a CSA, you'll love our weekly Market Fresh, available live each Thursday evening at eatdrinkexplore.com. And if you missed the show, follow our updates on Facebook and Twitter for links to the recipes shared, video from the show, and other great information. Eat, Drink, Explore Radio's Market Fresh, helping perfect your California flavor.
Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to decide?
This is Annie Lennox of Eurythmics for RAD. Please don't drink and drive, and don't drive if someone else has been drinking. Thank you.
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Across the nation, people are stepping up for their mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, partners, sisters, and brothers. They're leading the way and walking to end Alzheimer's, the sixth leading cause of death in the nation. Together, we can reclaim the future. Walk to end Alzheimer's. Start a team. Join a team. Go to alz.org.
California business owners, entrepreneurs, farmers, authors, and other professionals, this message is for you. We're looking to highlight those of you who give back to the community, care about the environment, and have the health of our state as part of your business model or focus. Our new California Love website is in the beta testing phase. So, during the next few months, we're offering free listings to qualified people or business entities. It's a win-win situation. You help populate our site with quality, locally owned California companies, and we help direct customers to your business or product. Simply head over to CALUV.com. That's CA as in California, LUV as in a cute way to spell love.com, and enter the information for your business today. Why wouldn't you? It's easy and it's free. CALUV.com, the California Love Business Recommendation Tool. Welcome back to the program, everyone, here on this Sunday Funday morning, 9:19 the time. As you get up and get going, maybe planning a little day of wine tasting here in beautiful California. Who wouldn't? I think we're going to swing by a property called Eberly Winery in Paso Robles today. That's the plan, is to head up that way.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm. They sponsor our show, and we've yet to go there and check it out.
Check out the cave tour.
Exactly. Voted by Wine Spectator magazine of one of the best on the Central Coast. So looking forward to visiting the fine folks there at Eberly. But who we have on the line right now is the winemaker, Gustavo Gonzalez from Mira Napa, where they are trying a new experiment to see what it's like to age wine underwater, specifically on the Atlantic coast, right outside Charleston Harbor there. Gustavo, welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
And when we last were speaking to you before the commercial break, I was curious about the water temperature and then the swaying motion. How are those going to play into this aging process?
Well, the swaying motion is the one that has me the most intrigued because it's the one thing that's quite different from what we're doing onshore. The water temperature is pretty similar to what we have in the warehouse, and you were right to say that it's a little bit warmer over there in the water and consistently warmer than it is in the Pacific. And that's why we decided to do this for only 3 months, so we can maintain a similar water temperature to what we have in the warehouse, which is about 59 degrees.
Oh, okay, 59 degrees. But then the water temperature there in the south, along the southern Atlantic seaboard, really starts to warm up, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's why we're going to pull this out in May. We're only going to do it for 3 months this first go-around, and the intention is to do it again later after the summer when the water temperature goes down again and we don't have to worry about hurricanes in that part of the world. To do maybe a bigger dip for like 9 months.
So which of your wines have you submerged then?
Right now, we just did our 2009 Cabernet.
And is that one of your most popular wines?
It is, and that's the reason we decided to do the Cabernet. We also produce Pinot, Syrah, Chardonnay, and Sauvignon Blanc, small quantities of each. But we decided to do Cabernet because, one, it's got the most aging potential, and two, it's the one that's the most popular of the red.
That's what I was thinking. Of course, Napa, so well known for its Cabernets. Cabernet, the second most produced grape in California in 2012 behind Chardonnay, but by far the king of the reds. And so that seems like the logical choice to try that one out. So then after the underwater aging, will there be a secondary aging as well?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to pull these at the end of May, and then we'll probably do a round of tasting and analysis right off the bat to see what they're like, immediately after being pulled out of the water. And then, again, maybe a month later once they've aged a little bit on shore.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Mira Napa. You clearly have connections to Charleston. The president lives there in the south, but you're based in the Napa Valley. Which portion? You're out of St. Helena?
Yeah, our winery is actually in St. Helena, and we source fruit from diverse top vineyards throughout the valley, throughout the Napa Valley.
Okay, and do you have any estate grapes?
We do not. We just contract out. We source like a Burgundy Negociant from just some of the top growers like Larry Hyde and a family called Schweitzer and Saglie and things like that.
Oh, Stag's Leap, I think I've heard of it. No, that's a big one, and it's becoming more common, isn't it, for wineries to do that sort of thing, to do the sourcing out of the valley?
Yeah, it's much more common. One, you're not tied to any particular piece of land, and maybe you already have a history, and you know what the grapes are going to turn out later on. So it makes it a little bit simpler from a wine growing and winemaking point of view.
Gustavo, whose idea was this? Was it yours or was it the president's to dunk the bottles?
Well, it was a collective idea between the three of us. The president first read about it in a magazine, and then we subsequently read it, and we all thought it would be a great idea to try it here. No one had ever done it, so... And there's also a little bit of history in the Charleston Harbor with shipwrecks and whatnot, and that's another reason why we thought we would do it in that part of the world, too.
I'm surprised no one's come up with this idea yet.
If someone wanted to...
I'm surprised, too. I've read, in Europe they've done barrels and even tanks and stuff like that, but no one has really done bottles of wine.
And if someone wanted to purchase one of your submerged bottles, how do they do that? Is there a wait list?
Well, the best way to do it is to go to our website, miranapa.com. And we didn't put that much wine underwater for this first go-around. We only did 4 cases, so there's going to be a very limited amount, I think, that we're going to put out for sale. I mean, the majority of it's going to be for us to try and to test, but we definitely will put some bottles out.
If it does well, do you plan to put more than, I think it says on your website, you put 48. Will you submerge more bottles if this turns out to be a good thing?
Could be your signature.
Yeah, if it turns out to be a positive thing and people get behind it, we can definitely increase. Although there's a limit to I think what we can actually achieve, how many cases we can actually do. So I don't see it being too huge in the future, but we can definitely grow beyond the 4 cases. So
what went into the design for the case in which these bottles are put under the water? Like it looks like from the pictures that we're showing online at eatdrinkexplore.com, this looks like it's specifically designed for this purpose.
Exactly. We had somebody custom make these. with the goal of securing the bottles inside the cage and then being able to secure the cages to the bottom of the sea, too, so that they wouldn't be shuffling around too much with the tides.
And how much would you hate that if there was drift and all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, we know we put the bottles here.
Yeah, that wouldn't be too fun if we went back looking for them and they weren't there. But luckily, we have a GPS device on, and we also have some monitors so we can get a look at the temperature and the other factors while it's aging.
GPS, I hadn't even thought of that. Okay. Hello, 2013. Of course, of course, there's going to be GPS. We're speaking with Gustavo Gonzalez. He's the winemaker at Mira Napa there in the St. Helena region, where I have some family. As a matter of fact, yes. And my orthodontist when I was growing up is also my cousin, so he was located in Napa, and I grew up just 2 counties over in Marin. So
has something to do with why you love wine, perhaps.
I think so. Right. So Gustavo, what is the date that you'll be pulling these out?
The tentative date right now is May 25th.
May 25th, and I guess it depends on weather conditions, whether you can head out into the harbor and pull them up.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Have the divers who put these underwater for you done this before, or how did you guys get in contact with them?
These are people that we know, and we pitched the idea to them because they do other types of dive work, and they agreed to build the cages. They totally bought into the idea.
So the divers built the cages for you as well.
So yeah, we had this special team of people that built them that are professional divers.
What could go wrong? Like before you undertook this project, I imagine you went through a list of downsides. Like what could be the worst possible outcome, or what are some of the things that you might have you biting your nails?
Well, the worst possible outcome could be, like we discussed a minute ago, that they'd be gone when we go back to find them.
Right. Yeah.
But other than that, maybe cork failure or even the bottles bursting or something because of the pressure, and then we go back just to find a bunch of broken bottles. I think that would be the worst thing that could happen.
Now, I know that there have been, as you mentioned, shipwrecks where you open up a bottle of champagne and it still tastes really good. What's the oldest that you know of? What's the longest that a bottle's been under the sea and then whoever found it opened it and the wine was found to be still palatable?
If I remember correctly, there was a shipwreck in the Baltic Sea that had champagne that was over 100 years old.
Oh, really? My goodness.
Wow. Certainly doesn't last that long at my house.
Yeah, and we don't intend to leave ours for 100 years either. No. I'm not going to be around to check it out.
And the Baltic is a colder region, so that would make sense. With the chillier temperatures, it wouldn't age as fast. And I mean, when you're down there under the water, it's a completely anaerobic condition for the most part. And so, completely for the most part, how do you like me hedging my bets there? But the anaerobic meaning no oxygen. And so does that mean, I guess, for aging wine, don't you want there to be a little bit of oxygen?
Well, you would want, for example, for Cabernet, you want it to breathe a little bit while it's aging, and that's why you use cork in a lot of ways. It breathes, and it brings in a little bit of air to soften out the tannin. So in this case, yeah, that's right. We're not going to have any air, and we're not going to have any light either. And it's totally dark down there. So,
yeah. So there may be no...
My feeling is it's probably going to age a little bit slower than it will on shore.
Gustavo Gonzalez, winemaker at Mira Napa. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We look forward to the outcome. We'll have you on then.
Thank you for having me.
Alrighty, bye-bye. California business owners, entrepreneurs, farmers, authors, and other professionals, this message is for you. We're looking to highlight those of you who give back to the community, care about the environment, and have the health of our state as part of your business model or focus. Our new California Love website is in the beta testing phase. So, during the next few months, we're offering free listings to qualified people or business entities. It's a win-win situation. You help populate our site with quality, locally owned California companies, and we help direct customers to your business or product. Simply head over to caluv.com. That's CA as in California, LUV as in a cute way to spell love.com, and enter the information for your business today. Why wouldn't you? It's easy and it's free. caluv.com, the California Love Business Recommendation Tool.
I'm in almost every school bus and classroom. I go to school with your children. We say the Pledge of Allegiance together. You see me around the neighborhood and you tell me that I'm a pretty good kid. Well, I'm one out of every 5 children in America, and I'm struggling with hunger. This problem is closer than you think. My teacher tells me we can grow up to be whatever we want. I want to grow up to be someone who doesn't go to bed hungry. There's enough food in this country to feed everybody. Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank for ways to help. Every dollar you donate helps provide 8 meals for kids like me, quietly struggling with hunger. Together, we are Feeding America, brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hello, this is Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and I want to tell you about my new favorite discovery, Yosemite National Park. I recently went there with my husband and children, and we walked the trails to see the breathtaking waterfalls, admired the grand meadows, and giant sequoias. But the future of our national parks is uncertain. Many challenges face our parks today, from polluted air and water to development threats outside their borders and inadequate funding to protect our national heritage. That's why the National Parks Conservation Association recently completed a decade-long assessment of the challenges facing our national parks, along with proposed actions that will ensure our children and grandchildren will be able to enjoy the parks as we have. Our national parks have inspired Americans for nearly 100 years. As we approach the centennial of the National Park Service in 2016, please join us in helping to protect our national park legacy. Find out how at www.mpca.org.
At the American Lung Association, we're fighting for a day when we can all breathe easier. We're fighting for clear skies over every city and healthy lungs throughout the country. We're fighting to free millions of Americans from the addictive grip of tobacco and the devastating effects of lung disease. The American Lung Association isn't just fighting for air, we're fighting for all the things that make it worth breathing, and we can use your help. See what you can do at fightingforair.org.
This is Betty White. I know you don't need one more thing to worry about, but listen, high blood pressure can cause kidney damage, blindness, heart attack, stroke, and you can have high blood pressure even if you feel all right. 1 in 7 adults has it, but it's easy to get your blood pressure checked, and you can treat it if it is too high. So don't worry about it, don't ignore it, just see your doctor and check it out.
For your free booklet, visit the Will Rogers Institute at wrinstitute.org and find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the Eat, Drink, Explore radio network. Here now is your fabulous host, Mr. Randall White.
And a very good day, everyone. 9:33, the time on this Sunday Funday morning. You are listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore radio network. I'm your host, Randall White, joined by Nicole Powers, filling in for Patty Pyburn this morning.
Good morning.
Nice to have you here, Nicole. Thank you so
you.
much for filling in a pinch as Patty plays with Mickey and Goofy and all the gang down at Disneyland.
Of course.
I'm excited to hear her response to the trip. She was looking forward to seeing her good friend from Phoenix, but she wasn't so much looking forward to going to Disneyland. Hopefully she has the same experience I had the last time I was there, where like opened my eyes again and I was like, well, I get it. Now I understand why they've been such a popular theme park for so many years. They do keep it fresh. Okay, so at the end of this month, I believe it's at the end of this month, there is it might be in early April. I'll find out in just a second. At any rate, the Whiskeys of the World event will be happening.
Wow.
It's annual in San Francisco. They hold it on one of the docked hornblower yachts. I think it's called the something Bell. It's a big one that's right there on the Embarcadero. April 6th is the date, and you can taste, just as the name might imply, whiskeys from all over the world, but they're based in the South Bay in San Jose, the people who put this together, and they do rely heavily on local artisanal whiskey and spirits makers from California, which I think is fantastic. And one caught my eye. Lana sent this to me. She's one of the women with Whiskeys of the World. And I was like, we want to have these people on. It is the Lost Spirits Distillery in the Salinas area. I believe it might be Prunedale. And we have the whiskey maker himself, Brian Davis, on the line to talk a little bit about it. Hey, Brian.
Hi, how's it going?
Great. I should be asking you that question. Nicole and I should be asking how you're doing, because I understand yesterday was a bottling day and you may have put in like 20 hours.
No, worse. I actually haven't slept yet.
Oh,
well, thanks for being here.
Well, you're going to be super loopy, and it has nothing to do with the whiskey.
Yeah, no, it's not so much the bottling factor. It's that when we built the distillery, we made this thing on such a nano budget that we got this little tiny boiler that's not really big enough for the still, and so it works fine, but it just takes 28 hours.
Wow.
And so you were at it the whole time, and nice enough to join us this morning to talk about your, I guess it's the Leviathan 2 is your most recent release?
That's the current one.
And then what's right now in the process?
Well, we've got a whole bunch of different stuff in the works. Probably the next release that you're going to see from us is made from California peat.
Oh, California peat, because the peat that you used for Leviathan 2 is from Canada, if I have that correct, right?
Yeah, it's actually from a bog just north of Edmonton.
Oh.
So that's kind of our whole thing, right, is that if you are into peated whiskeys, there's really only two varietals that are used in general production. So there's either the island coastal peat from Islay in Scotland, or there's heather peat, which comes from the higher elevations in Scotland. And so we sort of looked at this and said, well, gosh, we're in California, we have no traditions or rules. What would be interesting, and the first thing that popped to mind was, well, what about peats from different bogs that, have different flavor characteristics that you've never had before?
Yeah. Do we have bogs in California?
We do, actually. They're really hard to get to because most of them are protected environmental preserves.
Okay.
And so initially we wanted to do a California one first, but it was a lot of bureaucracy and a lot of headache trying to find access to a bog that we could actually get peat out of and then burn it.
But you do use California grains in your previous previous spirits. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, we do. Not for all of them, but a considerable portion is California grown barley.
That is so cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the farm to table aspect.
So we see here it's explained as completely unique and undeniably geeky. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, yeah, so I guess if I was going to give you a definition, okay. So when you burn peat, it turns into phenolic acids. So, okay, rewind for a second. So the process of making whiskey is a process of making alcohol like it is with any other spirit, and then there are acids that are generated by either A, bacteria, or B, yeast in the fermentation.
Okay.
And then those acids are what make alcohol burn.
I
right?
see. Uh-huh.
So whenever you tasted like a kind of rot gut whiskey and it just burned all the way down, that was raw, unchanged acids.
So the good spirit maker finds a way to sort of neutralize those acids?
Well, you actually convert them into esters. So when they bond with alcohol molecules, they form something called an ester, which is what gives everything its flavor. So when you bite into a strawberry, you're tasting, for example, ethyl butyrate makes strawberries taste like strawberries. And that's a combination of butyric acid, which is actually a horrible, nasty, vile-tasting acid, combined with ethanol forms strawberries.
If you try any of the Belgian wheat beers using the Belgian-style process, it has a little bit of a banana taste, and that comes also from the esters, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. That's actually, I believe ethyl heptanate is the primary one that produces the bananas. But yeah, it's also what gives a banana its flavor in nature, right? So all those different flavors are derived from what's called carboxylic acids, which make the fruit flavors when they're formed into esters, which is the barrel aging process. That's what makes the barrel aging magic work.
Are you starting to get the geek portion,
Yeah.
Nicole?
So when you burn peat, it generates phenolic acids, which are a different family, and that's what makes anything taste smoky. So when you're getting a piece of smoked meat, you're tasting phenolic acids that are on the surface of the meat.
Now,
and those can esterify as well.
And so you smoke the peat yourself, right?
Correct. And so that's sort of our geeky portion. That actually wasn't the geeky part. The geeky part is that when we burn different peats from different sources at different temperature ranges, we produce a different cocktail of phenolic acids than you would get from the typical peat sources. And so that ends up estrifying into a whole new range of flavors, and you get new stuff that you literally have never tasted in a whiskey before.
So on the website, I see there's photos of a peach, chocolate, coffee, it looks like maple syrup, and honey. So is that a part of that process, or how does that get into the flavors?
So most of that, so the peach is a carboxylic acid-derived flavor. So that's your more typical path to getting a flavor into a whiskey. The chocolate is caffeic acid, which is generated from burning the peat. And it's a really unique flavor because chocolate and coffee are not typical whiskey flavors, especially not in the density that we get. And that's unique to that peat source. So in some of our other whiskeys that are going to come out in the future, you won't see that particular one. That's unique to that Canadian peat bog.
So you don't actually use those ingredients. Those are just examples of the chemicals that may produce those flavors.
You got it.
Okay. And then one thing that you do is you use California wine barrels and you char them yourself for aging, correct?
Yeah, we do. And we get some pretty cool and strange exotic ones because we're so small. I mean, we're probably realistically the smallest whiskey distillery, I think, in the world.
Wow, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, we're literally, 3 people in a barrel a week. And so as a consequence, you can get barrels that don't make economic sense for a big distillery.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. Like we did the whole Leviathan 1 series were done in late harvest Cabernet barrels, which, I mean, there's probably maybe 25 barrels a year produced, in California, period.
And so, Brian, what is the reasoning behind burning or charring the inside of the barrel? Wouldn't that sort of remove the flavors that would have existed there from the late harvest Cabernet?
Well, it changes them. So it does two things. So the first thing is that when you char it, it'll caramelize the wine because the late harvest Cabernet is a sweet dessert wine. And so some of the residual sugars that are left in the wine will actually get caramelized on the surface of the wood. And the second thing it does is it actually burns the wood, which this gets really geeky. So when you char wood in a barrel, so if you just took whiskey and you put it in a barrel that wasn't charred and sat it out to age, literally nothing would happen. The wood is made up of 2 polymers, lignin and hemicellulose, and those polymers are made of interlaced carboxylic and phenolic acids, respectively. And so when you char them, it breaks apart the polymer, and then when you put the whiskey in, those acids that came from the charred wood end up forming or actually catalyzing and triggering the aging process. And so it's a critical step, actually.
I see on your website it says that it's bottled with a do not chill filter. Does that mean just what it says, or what does that say?
Well, so chill filtering is a really common practice in the whiskey industry, where what they'll do is take the whiskey and then freeze it to like negative 30 degrees and then run it through a filter. And that causes compounds called colloids, which can make a whiskey hazy. And so when you chill it down that low, the colloids come out of suspension, you run it through a filter, and it catches them. And it makes the whiskey crystal clear. The problem with that is that the colloids actually taste really good and add body to the whiskey. And so for kind of our really geeky customers, which is basically the only customers who've ever heard of us, the colloids in the whiskey are desirable. And so they actually want to know that it hasn't been chill filtered and that it has that extra flavor, even if it makes the whiskey slightly hazy. And in our case, we don't filter it at all. We actually rack the barrels, so we just let them sit slowly. Everything settles to the bottom, and then we draw off the bottom of the barrel.
We are speaking with whiskey maker Brian Davis, Lost Spirits in Monterey County. You're in Prunedale, right?
Well, we're actually kind of in between Moss Landing and Salinas, but much closer to Moss Landing.
Okay. Right.
We're sort of hidden in the middle of the agricultural fields where nobody expects us.
Where the geeks hide out to make their whiskey. It's well known in those circles. Brian, if you don't mind holding on, I know you have no sleep or anything, but if you don't mind holding on through the commercial break, I just have a couple of more questions for you.
Sure.
All right, we're speaking again with Brian Davis. Lost Spirits, you can find the link at eatdrinkexplore.com. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network here on this Sunday Funday morning. Nicole Powers, Randall White, we're back in just a moment. California business owners, entrepreneurs, farmers, authors, and other professionals, this message is for you. We're looking to highlight those of you who give back to the community, care about the environment, and have the health of our state as part of your business model or focus. Our new California Love website is in the beta testing phase. So, during the next few months, we're offering free listings to qualified people or business entities. It's a win-win situation. You help populate our site with quality, locally owned California companies, and we help direct customers to your business or product. Simply head over to CALUV.com. That's CA as in California, LUV as in a cute way to spell love.com, and enter the information for your business today. Why wouldn't you? It's easy and it's free. CALUV.com, the California Love Business Recommendation Tool. Hey, farmers market fans, listen up because we're launching a new show just for you. Join the Eat, Drink, Explore radio network each Thursday evening from 5:30 to 6 for a healthy dose of recipe sharing and food news. We broadcast our show live from the historic downtown San Luis Obispo Farmers Market, but the information shared is designed for anyone who has a love of fresh, seasonal produce and locally made artisan treats. So whether your favorite market is located at San Francisco's Ferry Plaza in downtown Santa Monica, or if you're simply a member of a CSA, you'll love our weekly Market Fresh, available live each Thursday evening at eatdrinkexplore.com. And if you missed the show, follow our updates on Facebook and Twitter for links to the recipes shared, video from the show, and other great information. Eat, Drink, Explore Radio's Market Fresh, helping perfect your California flavor.
Hi, this is Rick Moranis. You know, some people are more careful about what they feed their cars than what they feed their bodies. They know that the wrong fuel can hurt a car's performance and maybe ruin the engine. But the wrong food can have the same effect on your health. Too much fat, too many calories, and too little of what's good for you can affect how well you feel and even lead to serious illness. So eat right. It'll help you keep running smooth.
For more information, visit the Will Rogers Institute at wrinstitute.org or call toll-free 877-957-7575 and find us on Facebook and Twitter. Wayne Brady for the Will Rogers Institute.
Hey folks, I've got something that will truly revolutionize your life. It's called exercise. It will get you from here to there, allow you to spend time with your family and meet new people, cut inches from your waistline, and improve the quality of your life. Even help improve your self-image. Sexy. So when you've got to choose between moving around or lying on the couch, choose exercise. You won't be sorry.
For your free booklet, visit wrinstitute.org or call toll-free 877-957-7575 and find us on Facebook and Twitter.
California business owners, entrepreneurs, farmers, authors, and other professionals, this message is for you. We're looking to highlight those of you who give back to the community, care about the environment, and have the health of our state as part of your business model or focus. Our new California Love website is in the beta testing phase. So, during the next few months, we're offering free listings to qualified people or business entities. It's a win-win situation. You help populate our site with quality, locally owned California companies, and we help direct customers to your business or product. Simply head over to CALUV.com. That's CA as in California, LUV as in a cute way to spell love.com, and enter the information for your business today. Why wouldn't you? It's easy and it's free. CALUV.com, the California Love Business Recommendation Tool. a very good Sunday Funday morning, everyone. The final segment of the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network for this March the 3rd. I'm your host, Randall White, joined by Nicole Powers.
Good morning.
And when we last left you, we were speaking with Brian Davis. He is an artisanal whiskey maker out of Monterey County. He's the man behind Lost Spirits, has been up for an entire day plus, and still joins us this morning because yesterday was a big day at the Lost Spirits there. What exactly were you doing yesterday, Brian?
Well, we were bottling up a couple of casks, and we were also distilling the first run from a new distillation, which is a really long process.
You're like, really long.
I have to do this once a week, so I'm getting used to it, but it's painful.
The life of a whiskey maker, or the smallest in the world, he says. Now, you had a question, Nicole, regarding the style of their whiskey.
I did. Brian, excuse Randall and I, as we are obviously not as familiar with whiskey as you are. It says you're inspired by Islay, and we don't know what Islay is.
So much so that we're not even pronouncing it correctly.
Well, don't worry about it. It's Scottish, so no one will ever pronounce it correctly. You could actually go there, pronounce it correctly, and then they'll correct you and give you a different pronunciation just to have fun with you. I mean, Islay is an island in Scotland that is very well known for its heavily peated whiskeys.
Ah, okay.
And so the smokiest of the single malt scotches come from that island. And when we got into this, originally we were living in Spain with the distillery there, and we ended up selling it, I guess, about 4.5 years ago or something. And when we did, we had a distributor who was a Scotch importer, and we sat down with him and did a flight of all of the different whiskeys that he was importing, and there was one in there called Octomore that's the most heavily smoked whiskey in the world, arguably. And Joanne and I just absolutely fell in love with it. And so years later, when we came back to the United States and we were setting up the distillery here, we were originally going to make American whiskeys. And we were tasting all these different whiskeys and talking about the different prototypes that we were making, and we just really weren't in love with any of them.
Uh-huh.
And a friend who was over, who was getting really mad at us because he thought one of the bourbons we had made was really great, and we didn't like it that much.
I'm a bourbon fan, too.
And so he was kind of looked at us and went, well, what do you want? And we both looked at each other and, without thinking about it, both said Octomore at the same time.
Oh, well, then that's it.
There you go.
Yeah, so we're like, okay, we're going to do that. Let's go for heavily smoked, Scotch-style whiskeys, but made from unusual ingredients.
I like it. I love it. I love the whole concept behind your distillery there in Monterey County. And Brian, not to get too far off topic, where in Spain did you live?
Outside of Barcelona. So we lived in the Pyrenees, about, I guess, 2 hours.
Beautiful.
I guess 2 hours up towards the French border and moving inland from the coast.
Now, I have a question for you regarding a little bit of controversy that's been in the news lately, not regarding your whiskey, but regarding Maker's Mark. They apparently could not make enough, so they decided, well, when you can't make enough, water it down.
I mean...
What was up with that? That just seems like an incredibly bad marketing move.
It's such a foreign concept for us because we don't even water the whiskey down at all. We just take it straight out of the barrels and put it into the bottles as is. And so I can't really relate. But then again, we're not, the kind of business they are. We don't do millions and millions of barrels all over the world and have, thousands of employees we have to worry about.
And you're the exact type of whiskey maker that it will be on display at the Whiskeys of the World. Is that considered a competition? What's it considered?
No, they have these actually all over the United States and really the world, where you can go and you can spend maybe $120 or $150 and walk through a conference hall and sample all of the different and interesting whiskeys that you might otherwise have to spend, tens of thousands of dollars to get a complete flight of samples to decide what you like and what you don't.
Right.
And so it's a great experience for a consumer, both whiskey geeks and people who are new to it, because for $120 you can walk in and try, literally 24 different exotic and special whiskeys. Nice. And sort of identify your tastes, because there's a lot of styles.
I've been and I love it.
Yeah, it's a fantastic experience.
If you're not able to attend Whiskeys of the World, how can we purchase your whiskey, since it is such a Lost Spirits is so small?
Yeah, sometimes that's challenging because it's sold out more or less 2/3 of the time, and then we kind of resupply one of the markets, and so it's sort of like you can get it I mean, online is the best place for sure, because a lot of times you'll run into a situation where California is sold out, but you can get it in New York. And then the month after that, New York is sold out, and you can get it in Chicago. And then the month after that, Chicago is sold out, and you can get it in California.
Right.
But the best place in the Bay Area is K&L Wines.
K&L Wines?
Yeah, it's a fantastic shop for both exotic wines and whiskeys. They have a phenomenal selection.
And where are they located?
They're in Redwood City and also Los Angeles and San Francisco.
Oh, okay. So 3 different locations, 2 in the Bay Area. That's
yeah, and they'll often buy full barrels from us, so they tend to keep more stock than most stores do at any given moment. I think they're sold out today, but there should be some there later in the week.
He laughs. Considering how much love and effort and geekiness and high quality ingredients go into this, including everything down to the late vintage Cabernet barrels that you char and use. I can't imagine a bottle of this is considered a bargain bottle, right?
Well, you know, I mean, it is kind of for what it is, I guess. I mean, it's they sell for about $55 a bottle.
Oh, that's a good deal. I thought you were going to say more than that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you know, we wanted to keep the pricing reasonable. I mean, because I don't want people to buy these and collect them and, you know, sell them at auctions. We want people to buy them and drink them, you know?
Good. Yeah.
I like that idea.
Right, I love that idea.
You know, I mean, we still have to pay the bills, so it's not super cheap, but, you know.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, Brian, it's such a pleasure to have you on. The jury's still out on whether I can make it to the event up in San Francisco, but the organizers have invited us, as they do every single year. And
we'd love to see you.
Yeah, I will make a beeline over to your kiosk, or what do you call that, table serving area. It's really,
I don't know what we're gonna get. Yeah,
it's really lined up. I mean, it is jam packed with people pouring things, and they also have food on board the ship, which is really nice. And then on top, I don't know if they're doing it this year, but they have like where you can sample cigars and stuff, which is why they do it on the ship, because San Francisco has rules against that. But if you're on the ship, then you
doesn't matter.
Get around that.
Yeah, we're actually going to be the one of the whiskeys they're pairing the cigars with. I'm an avid cigar smoker.
Oh, well, then there you go. Yeah,
we jumped all over that.
Well, Brian Davis, whiskey maker, artisanal whiskey maker, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Everyone kind of says it a little differently.
Artisanal.
Technically, it's not even an English word. Yeah, so it's from France. Lost Spirits there. It's secretly located between Moss Landing and Salinas in an undisclosed location.
Agricultural area.
Right. Brian, go to bed.
Right.
Tell your wife thank you as well for helping us set this up. So
you got it. We'll do.
All right, everyone, that wraps it up for another Eat, Drink, Explore radio program here on this Sunday Funday morning. Lots of great stuff coming up next week. We'll be talking about the opening of the new tunnels that are skirting around Devil's Slide. Also, a chef to the Grammys and the Oscars.
Wow.
We'll talk about what it takes to put together a menu for those snooty people. And then California's water situation as well. Nicole Powers filling in for Patty Piper, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Randall.
And everyone else who helps with the Eat, Drink, Explore radio show. I'm Randall White. We'll see you next week.
You've been listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore radio program. If you missed any of our segments today, look for them online or through our free Apple and Android apps. Catch you back right here next week.